The universe is not outside of you. Look inside yourself. Everything that you want, you already are. Rumi, there is a reason you are here. Not a coincidence, not an accident, but a precise alignment. You have stumbled upon these words at the exact moment your soul was ready to remember something it has carried across lifetimes. The title itself whispered to you. If you see this, your soul identity is activating the Hermetic Principle Shift. You did not find this video found you. Because there is a pulse moving through the quantum fabric of existence, a pulse that carries your name, your signature, your resonance. It beats beneath the surface of time, pulling you toward a remembrance that is older than language and deeper than memory. You have felt it, haven't you? That subtle tug inside your chest, as if the universe itself is calling your attention. That mysterious sense that something is awakening inside you. Something that doesn't fit into the ordinary structures of your daily life. Listen closely. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is recognition. The Hermetic Principle Shift is not simply a teaching, not simply an idea, it is an initiation. It is the invisible hand that has been guiding you through synchronicities, through dreams, through symbols that appear and reappear until you finally stop ignoring them. And tonight, at this very moment, the cycle has ripened. The seed is breaking open. Everything in your journey, the disappointments, the victories, the waiting, the yearning was preparing you to stand here, listening, ready to activate. You may not remember the oath you once made, but the universe has not forgotten. You may not recall the lifetimes of preparation, but the quantum field has recorded every imprint. And so, here you are, called into presence. Not by me, not by chance, but by the vibration of your own becoming. You see, your soul identity is not something you earn. It is something you uncover, like brushing away layers of dust from an ancient relic. It has always been within you, encoded in your DNA, pulsing in your aura, whispering in your dreams. And now, the field around you is shifting to match the truth inside of you. This is why you feel the stirring, the electricity in the air, the sense that something is changing even if you can't name it yet. The Hermetic principles, the laws that weave spirit and matter, mind and cosmos are no longer abstract theories. They are alive within you, and the shift that is beginning will make them visible in your everyday reality. So let me speak to you directly. You are not here by accident. You are not hearing this by mistake. You are here because your deeper self has chosen this moment as the opening, the doorway, the ignition of memory. The question is not whether your soul identity is activating. The question is how fully you will allow yourself to embrace it. And as you breathe, as you listen, as you allow these words to sink into the spaces between your thoughts, you will begin to notice something. That the destiny you have been waiting for is already unfolding. Right now, in this moment. Welcome. The activation has already begun. You have felt it before, haven't you? The sensation of circling, of repeating, of moving through the same corridors of experience, no matter how many times you promise yourself that things will be different. It's as if time itself is looping. Relationships recycle their familiar patterns. Opportunities appear and dissolve in eerily similar ways. Even your own thoughts echo the same phrases, the same doubts, the same inner resistance. This is not laziness. This is not failure. This is the quantum loop. At the subatomic level, reality is a dance of probabilities, a shimmer of waveforms collapsing into form the moment attention touches them. But when your attention is scattered, fragmented, or locked in unconscious repetition, the field has no choice but to keep collapsing into the same story, over and over. You become both the observer and the prisoner of your own observation. You peer into the mirror of reality, and the mirror only reflects back the frequency you project. So the same lessons replay. The same choices return disguised in different costumes. The same karmic rhythms beat like a drum in the background of your life. It feels like destiny, but it is not destiny. It is entrapment, a timeline trap, a circuit that has not yet been broken. And in this loop, You sometimes convince yourself that you are moving forward. New city, same dynamics. New partner, same wound. New year, same hidden fatigue. The faces change, the places change, but the inner film reel keeps running its endless tape. Have you noticed this? That strange déjà vu that is not about memory but about energy? The sense that you are reliving something not once, not twice, but countless times in different forms. This is the observer loop, the paradox of consciousness itself. Because you are aware, you are constantly creating. Because you are creating unconsciously, you are constantly repeating. And because you are repeating, your awareness begins to dull until it feels as though life is happening to you rather than through you. But the truth you are beginning to remember is that this loop is not punishment. It is a signal, a cosmic flare, an invitation from your higher self to awaken to the mechanics of creation itself. The Hermetic Principle Shift whispers to you, as within, so without, as above, so below. The loop you see outside is only the echo of the loop running inside. Until you change the frequency of attention, the outer world must continue to replay the same songs. Think of it like this. Imagine a record player with a needle stuck in the same groove. The song is beautiful, but you only hear a fraction of it, repeating endlessly. You might dance to it. You might complain about it. You might even try to ignore it. But until you lift the needle, the track cannot advance. That is what has been happening in your life. The needle of your attention has been stuck. The melody of your destiny is vast, intricate, celestial. But you have only been listening to one repeating measure. And here is the secret no one told you. The loop continues, not because you are unworthy, not because you are broken, but because part of you has not yet remembered that you hold the needle. You can lift it, you can move it, you can place it on a new part of the record. But first, you must see the loop for what it island. Not fate, not curse, not coincidence, a mirror, a mechanism, a teaching. And as you begin to name it, as you begin to witness the patterns in your own life with clear eyes, you begin to loosen the trap. You begin to see where the attention has been bleeding away, where the unconscious has been steering the ship, where the echo has been mistaken for the original song. You are not condemned to repeat. You are being invited to awaken. And in this awakening, something extraordinary becomes possible. The recognition that science and symbolism are not separate languages but two mirrors reflecting the same truth. That is where we go next. At first glance, science and symbolism seem like two different worlds. One speaks in equations, the other in metaphors. One dissects the atom, the other contemplates the soul. Yet when you look deeper, you see they are not opposites, they are twin reflections, describing the same reality in different dialects. Quantum physics tells us that particles are not fixed objects, but shimmering clouds of probability. They exist as potential until observed. Observation collapses the wave into a particle, possibility into form. In other words, the act of seeing creates the scene. Now pause and let that sink in. What does it mean if your very awareness is the sculptor of the world around you? The Hermetic teachings, ancient as the stars, whisper the same thing. All is mind. The universe itself is mental. What you hold in consciousness is what unfolds in matter. As within, so without. As above, so below. These words were spoken long before laboratories existed, yet they map perfectly onto what quantum mechanics has discovered with particle accelerators and double-slit experiments. Do you see the pattern emerging? Science uses light beams and detectors. Symbolism uses myth and metaphor. But both are pointing toward the same truth. Reality is participatory. You are not standing outside the cosmos, watching it spin. You are woven into the very fabric of it, threads of awareness, shaping the tapestry of experience. Consider light itself. Science says light behaves as both a particle and a wave, depending on how it is observed. Symbolism says light is the bridge between spirit and matter, the first emanation, the logos. Both descriptions, though different in language, are describing the paradox that what you look for determines what you find. And isn't that the story of your life? When you look for disappointment, you find it. When you expect abandonment, it arrives. When you fear limitation, reality shows you walls. But when you open to the possibility of synchronicity, when you choose to see meaning, when you dare to believe in coherence, life begins to reveal symbols, signs, and alignments that remind you of your true identity. Every coincidence you've experienced, every dream that felt prophetic, every repeated number on a clock or on a receipt, these are not accidents. They are the symbolic language of the quantum field speaking directly to your awareness. Science calls them probability clusters. Mysticism calls them omens. But the message is the same. Your consciousness is entangled with the field, and the field is always responding. Imagine it this way. The universe is like an infinite ocean, and your thoughts, your focus, your emotional resonance are stones dropped into its waters. Each creates ripples. Those ripples intersect, amplify, cancel, and form patterns on the surface. Science might call them interference patterns. Symbolism might call them synchronicities or fate. But both are the visible traces of an invisible law. Energy follows attention. The Hermetic Principle Shift that you are stepping into is nothing less than this recognition embodied. It is the merging of quantum fact and mystical truth, a remembering that your awareness is not passive but creative. And here's the most humbling revelation. The world you see is not the world. It is your world. The collapse of the wave into matter is unique to your perception, your filter, your resonance. What looks like chaos to one person may look like divine design to another, because each is experiencing their own projection of possibility solidifying into form. This is why two people can stand in the same place, live through the same event, and yet walk away with completely different realities. Because the world is not simply out there, it is being rendered, moment by moment, through the quality of consciousness perceiving it. You are beginning to feel this, aren't you? The sense that the laws of physics and the whispers of mysticism are not rivals but companions, that science explains the mechanism, and symbolism explains the meaning, and together, they form a map for you to navigate the shift that is already happening inside of you. Because once you understand that your attention is not just observing but generating, you begin to realize the loop you saw in the last chapter is not a prison at all. It is the evidence that your awareness is powerful enough to create patterns so consistent, so reliable, that they can trap you or free you. And this is where the question begins to emerge. What patterns have you been creating unconsciously? And what patterns could you begin to create if you became fully awake to your own power? That is the doorway to personal resonance. And it is waiting for you now. Pause for a moment. Breathe. Feel the rhythm of your own heart as you read these words. And now, allow the questions to rise not as challenges, but as mirrors reflecting your own hidden knowing. Have you ever wondered why certain people keep showing up in your life, as if drawn to you by some invisible thread? Have you noticed how some conversations leave you heavy, while others ignite something ancient and luminous inside you? Have you ever stared at the night sky and felt, even for a fraction of a second, that the stars were not above you, but inside you, burning, watching, remembering? And tell me, do you sense that your dreams are not random hallucinations, but encrypted messages from a dimension of your own soul trying to guide you? You've felt it. Haven't you? The strange electricity in the air before something important happens, the uncanny timing of events that seem orchestrated by a hidden intelligence. Do you recall the chill down your spine when you realize a thought you held quietly inside has manifested in front of you within days, hours, sometimes even minutes? And what about those moments when time itself seems to warp, when hours vanish in an instant, or when a single second feels eternal, as if the veil between worlds has thinned and you've stepped outside the ordinary flow of chronology? Let me ask you more. Why do you think certain numbers stalk you, appearing on receipts, on clocks, on license plates, until you can no longer dismiss them? Why do certain symbols, animals, Or phrases repeat themselves in your environment, like echoes of a forgotten promise. And deeper still, why do you feel a restlessness in your chest? A sense that no matter how much you achieve, something essential is still missing. Why does your soul ache when you watch the world sleepwalk through its days, pretending that existence is only material, only mechanical, only surface? Why, even when you doubt yourself, does some small but indestructible voice inside keep whispering, "You are more. You are here for something vast. You are not who you think you are who you are becoming." You see, these questions are not mine to give you. They are yours, returning home. I am only speaking them aloud because part of you has already been asking them in silence for years, for lifetimes. So let me ask you the most important one. What if every one of these questions is not evidence of confusion, but evidence of awakening? What if the ache, the repetition, the symbols, the timings are not coincidences, but invitations? What if your very dissatisfaction with the old patterns is the first proof that you are already stepping out of them? Can you feel that possibility trembling in your body right now? The recognition that you are not broken, you are breaking open. That is why you are here. That is why your soul identity is activating. Because the Hermetic Principle Shift is not a theory for philosophers, it is a lived reality that begins when you admit to yourself that you cannot keep looping the same way. And so the questions themselves become your compass. They are not doubts to be silenced, but signals to be followed. Every question is a breadcrumb, leading you deeper into the truth of your own becoming. Look again at your life with this awareness. Every symbol is speaking to you. Every repetition is teaching you. Every ache is guiding you. Every synchronicity is reminding you. And in this moment, your questions no longer leave you in the dark. They illuminate the next step, because now you are ready to see the hidden truth. The loop breaks not through force, not through effort, but through the quality of your attention. That is where we go next. You have been taught your whole life that change requires struggle, that transformation demands effort, resistance, discipline, and sacrifice. But the deeper truth is far more subtle and infinitely more powerful. The loop you've been caught in does not dissolve because you fight it. It dissolves because you shift the quality of your attention. Let me explain. When you focus with fear, with doubt, with distraction, your attention fractures the field. The quantum probabilities scatter, unable to hold coherence. And so the same patterns replay, the same grooves deepen, the same loop continues. But when your attention becomes steady, coherent, infused with presence, the entire field around you reorganizes. The waveforms collapse into new forms, new alignments, new pathways of possibility. It is not effort, it is coherence, not force, but resonance. Think of a tuning fork. Strike one, and another nearby begins to vibrate at the same frequency without being touched. That is how reality works. Your state of consciousness is the tuning fork. The universe is the instrument vibrating in response. You don't need to push reality. You need to attune it. The Hermetic Principle Shift is the recognition that as within, so without is not poetry, it is mechanics. The universe mirrors not what you demand, but what you embody. It reflects the tone of your being, the flavor of your awareness, the harmony or dissonance of your inner field. So let me ask you this. What happens when you stop trying to fix yourself and instead learn to inhabit yourself? What happens when your breath slows, your mind steadies, and your awareness sinks like a stone into the center of your own being? You feel it, don't you? The calm, the clarity, the subtle hum that was always there beneath the noise. And in that hum, reality begins to change quietly, organically, without struggle. This is the shift. This is the solution. The patterns that haunted you, the loops that imprisoned you, were never enemies to be destroyed. They were mirrors showing you where your attention had fractured, where your resonance had lost coherence. Now, imagine holding your attention like a beam of light, unwavering, steady, soft but unbroken. Imagine turning that light not toward the fears, not toward the doubts, but toward the frequency of who you already are becoming. Can you feel how different that is from striving? Can you sense how this is not about effort but about remembrance? Your soul identity has always been here, waiting for you to look at it with enough steadiness that it could fully emerge. Like a star hidden behind clouds, it was never absent, it was only obscured by scattered attention. And the moment you align your inner field, the outer field begins to rearrange. The synchronicities multiply, the old loops dissolve, the new pathways open, not because you fought your way into them, but because your resonance made them inevitable. This is why the ancients spoke of alchemy not as the transformation of lead into gold, but of the transmutation of awareness into higher states. The real alchemy is attention. The real gold is coherence. And you are ready now. You are ready to stop scattering your power and start gathering it. You are ready to hold your awareness like a sacred flame, steady enough to illuminate the path that has always been waiting. So let's make this tangible. Right here, right now, you are invited to shift from being a passive listener to becoming an active participant. The way you engage with this message is not trivial, it is a ritual, because when you take action from this state of coherence, you are not simply clicking a button, you are sending a pulse into the quantum field, a signal of readiness, an act of resonance. This is the moment we cross from inner recognition to outer ritual. Pause for a moment and feel this. Every action you take is energy. Every gesture, every choice, every breath sends ripples through the field. Nothing is neutral. Everything vibrates. So imagine this. The way you interact with these words, with this very transmission, is not casual. It is sacred. What you choose to do right now carries resonance. When you like this message, it is not just a digital thumbs up, it is an act of alignment. That simple click is you saying to the field, yes, I recognize this frequency. Yes, I choose coherence. Yes, I anchor this vibration into my timeline. When you comment, you are not merely typing words, you are engraving intention into the collective record. Each word you leave behind becomes a marker, a breadcrumb, a sigil in the living library of human consciousness. And as others read it, their resonance amplifies yours. Your voice ripples outward, becoming part of the chorus of awakening. When you share, you are not forwarding information, you are transmitting light. You are playing the role of a quantum bridge, carrying this activation into the timelines of others who are silently waiting, unknowingly longing for the very spark you now deliver. Do you see the beauty of that? You become an agent of synchronicity, a messenger of the Hermetic Shift. And when you subscribe, it is not about following a channel. It is about declaring continuity with your own evolution. It is you saying, I am committed to remembering. I am committed to resonance. I am committed to walking this path, not once, not briefly, but as a living rhythm of my becoming. Each of these actions may look ordinary on the surface, but in truth, they are modern-day mudras, sacred gestures performed not in temples of stone, but in the digital temple of the collective field. Remember, reality responds not to what you wish for, but to what you embody, and action, no matter how small, anchors embodiment. So here is the invitation. Transform this very moment into ritual. As you breathe, as you feel, as you recognize that your soul identity is activating, let your fingers become instruments of resonance. Let your engagement be the spell that seals what your awareness has begun. Because when you take action from this state, you are not just affirming to yourself, you are affirming to the quantum field, to the morphic web of humanity, to the cosmos itself. And this is why you are not alone. This is why what you do matters more than you think. Because your activation is not just personal, it is collective. And the moment you recognize this, you will see that your own liberation is intertwined with the awakening of all. That is where we are going next. Breathe deeply, because what is stirring within you is not yours alone. Your awakening is not a private event. It is a signal broadcast into the living network of humanity. Science calls it morphic resonance. Quantum theory calls it entanglement. Mystics have always called it oneness. Different names, one truth. Consciousness is not isolated. It is a field, a tapestry, a living web that binds us all. When you shift your frequency, you do not shift it in isolation. Your coherence becomes a pulse felt across the invisible fabric that connects every soul, every mind, every heart. Have you ever noticed how one person's calm presence can soothe a crowded room? Or how one individual's laughter can ripple through a group until everyone is smiling? That is a glimpse of the field in action. What happens within you does not stay within you, it echoes outward. And now, feel this. As your soul identity activates, as you step into the Hermetic Principle Shift, you are not just freeing yourself from the loop, you are loosening the knots of the collective loop. You are not just dissolving your patterns, you are creating possibility for countless others who have been trapped in the same grooves. Every thought you hold with clarity becomes a lantern. Every breath you take with presence becomes a doorway. Every act of coherence becomes permission for the world to remember what it had forgotten. You are part of something vast, something ancient, something inevitable. Humanity is not asleep by accident, it is asleep because the cycle demanded it. But cycles also demand awakening. And right now, you are one of the first to stir. Do you feel the responsibility of that? Not as a burden, but as a privilege? Because when you awaken, you send ripples into the morphic field that make it easier for others to awaken. You become a point of resonance that others unconsciously tune into, like instruments aligning themselves to the strongest tone in the orchestra. The Hermetic principles tell us, as above, so below. As within, so without. Extend this truth outward and you realize, as one awakens, so does the many. Your activation is not just about you, it is about us. Your remembering is not just personal, it is planetary. And this is why your doubts cannot stop you. This is why your fears are not stronger than your light. Because you are not standing alone against the tide, you are part of the tide. The shift is bigger than you. Bigger than me, bigger than any single person. It is the hum of the cosmos itself reclaiming balance, coherence, harmony. And as you recognize this, a new image begins to form inside you. The realization that you are not a separate spark, you are part of the fire. Not an isolated drop, you are part of the wave. This is the collective awakening. Not a sudden explosion, but a rising tide. Not a battle fought, but a remembering shared. And you right now, breathing these words, are part of the front wave of that tide. You are carrying the frequency forward. You are lifting the veil not just for yourself, but for all. And so the question arises, what is the image, the metaphor, the embodiment that will help you feel this truth in your bones? That is where we go next. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are the caterpillar within the chrysalis. At first, you believe the shell around you is a prison. You push against it. You resist. You fear the dissolution of everything familiar. But something extraordinary is happening inside. The cells of your old identity are melting, dissolving into formlessness. It feels like death. And yet, within that very dissolution, a new blueprint is awakening, the blueprint of wings. You are not dying. You are recoding. This is what is happening to you now. The loops, the repetitions, the dissolving of old patterns, these are not failures. They are the melting of the old structures, the breakdown that precedes the breakthrough. Your DNA is listening. Your cells are remembering. Your soul identity is activating the Hermetic Principle Shift. And just like the butterfly, you are stepping into a form you could not imagine before the chrysalis. Feel it. You are not the prison, you are the process. You are not trapped. You are transforming. Or picture this, water beginning to boil. For a long time it only trembles, little ripples, small disturbances. But then, at a precise threshold, a phase transition happens. Water is no longer water, it becomes vapor, rising, expanding, free. This too is you. For years you may have felt only tremors, little hints, subtle signs. But now you are reaching the boiling point. The threshold of transformation. The Hermetic principles are the heat beneath you, and your awakening is the vapor rising, liberated, untethered, no longer bound by the old form. Or imagine DNA itself spiraling ladders of light. each rung carrying codes of memory and potential. For generations, much of it seemed silent, dormant, junk. But what science once dismissed, mystics always knew. These are sleeping instructions, waiting for the right resonance to awaken them. And right now, as you breathe, as you listen, as you allow coherence to settle into your field, those dormant codes are stirring. They are glowing. They are opening like ancient scrolls within your very body. You are not adding something new, you are unlocking what was always hidden inside. The butterfly, the boiling water, the awakening DNA. 3 metaphors, 1 truth. Transformation does not come from outside. It emerges from within. And yet, the paradox is this. The chrysalis, the boiling, the DNA activation, all feel overwhelming when you are inside of them. You may not see the wings yet. You may not see the vapor rising. You may not feel the codes unlocking. But trust that it is happening. Because once the process begins, it cannot be reversed. This is why the Hermetic Principle Shift is not just information, it is inevitability. Once you have seen, you cannot unsee. Once you have begun, you cannot stop. Once the seed cracks open, the bloom is guaranteed. And now, you are standing at that threshold. Your wings are already forming. Your vapor is already rising. Your codes are already igniting. The old loops are dissolving, not because you fought them, but because they no longer have resonance with the self you are becoming. And this brings us to the promise, the reassurance that everything you are moving toward is already alive inside of you. That is where we go next. Listen closely, because this part is for the deepest part of you, the part that doubts, the part that fears, the part that wonders if this is all too much, too mysterious, too far beyond reach. I want you to know this. Your future self already exists, not as a fantasy, not as a possibility, as a living reality, vibrating right now in the quantum field, calling you forward with the gravity of destiny. Think about this. In physics, the wave function contains all possible outcomes. Every path, every potential, every timeline already exists. And when you observe, when you align, when you embody coherence, you collapse into the path that resonates with who you are becoming. That means your highest self is not waiting to be invented, it is waiting to be chosen. Your most radiant expression is not in the distance, it is whispering through the field in this very moment. Your liberation is not a dream. It is the most natural unfolding of who you already are. So take comfort in this. You cannot miss it. The loop may have delayed you, but it cannot deny you. Every repetition, every struggle, every ache was not wasted. It was preparing you to hear this, to feel this, to trust this. Do you feel the pull inside your chest? That subtle magnetism? That is your future self, tugging at you across dimensions saying, I am here, I am you, I am already complete. Come and join me. And here's the beauty. You don't have to run. You don't have to chase. You don't have to grasp. You only have to align. When your resonance matches the frequency of your future self, the timelines merge. The path becomes effortless, inevitable, alive. You have glimpsed this before, haven't you? Those fleeting moments when everything seemed to click, when synchronicities lined up, when the right person appeared at the right time, when the world felt alive and responsive to your very breath. Those were not accidents. Those were moments when you briefly touched the frequency of who you are becoming. Now, you are learning to live there. Not in flashes, not in fragments, but as your natural state. This is the closing promise. The self you long for is not separate from you. It is within you. It is around you. It is you. And no matter how uncertain the path may feel, no matter how thick the chrysalis seems, no matter how many times the loop has repeated, your wings are inevitable. Your rising is inevitable. The Hermetic Principle Shift is already coded into your soul. So breathe, trust, feel the truth vibrating through every cell. You are already on the path. You are already becoming. You are already home. And together, we seal this knowing with something greater than words, with a declaration. That is where we go next. Take one final breath with me now. Slow, deep. Let it fill your lungs, your heart, your entire field. Hold it for a moment and release. You are here, and that is no accident. You have walked through the loops. You have remembered the science. You have felt the symbolism. You have faced the questions, and you have recognized the truth. Your soul identity is activating the Hermetic Principle Shift. And now, it is time to anchor it. Not as a passing thought, not as a fleeting inspiration, but as a living declaration. So repeat these words not out loud if you cannot, but within yourself, with the authority of your own spirit. I am not trapped in the loop. I am the witness, the weaver, the awakening. I am coherence in human form. I am the Hermetic Principle Shift, embodied. I am not waiting for my future self. I am my future self, here and now. Feel the vibration of those words as if they are more than language. Because they are. They are codes, keys, tuning forks, aligning your entire field. And here, we do this together, not you alone, but all of us who are breathing these words at this very moment across time and space. Every like, every comment, every share, every subscription becomes not just digital action but a seal, a ritual, a collective affirmation. So when you comment, write it as a declaration. Write, I am activating, or I am coherence, or whatever phrase stirs your soul. And as others read it, they will feel the ripple. They will amplify it. Together, we become not just listeners, but a chorus, a field, a resonance. This is how collective awakening happens, not by grand events, but by thousands of small declarations vibrating as one. So let this be the seal. You are not the seeker, you are the shift. You are not the question, you are the answer. You are not waiting, you are arriving. And together, right here, right now, we declare, the Hermetic Principle Shift is alive. The soul identity is awakened. The future is present. Breathe this in. Carry it out into your day. Let your words, your actions, your choices ripple with this new coherence. Because the world is not waiting, it is responding. This is the sacred declaration. This is the seal. This is the remembering. And now, it is done.